What if the single biggest predictor of your success in life has nothing to do with how smart you are? No, seriously. Researchers have found that your IQ only accounts for about 20% of your life outcomes. So what determines the other 80%? That answer might completely change how you see yourself and everyone around you. Today we are breaking down Daniel Goleman's groundbreaking book Emotional Intelligence, and by the end of this video you will understand why some people with average IQs outperform geniuses, why your ability to manage feelings matters more than most people realize, and most importantly how you can actually start developing the skills starting today. Let's start with the big question. What even is emotional intelligence? Goleman describes it as a set of abilities that includes being aware of your own emotions, managing those emotions effectively, recognizing emotions in other people, and using all of that to navigate relationships successfully. He calls these the core pillars of EQ, and together they create something he argues is more valuable than raw intellectual horsepower. Here is where it gets really interesting. Goleman draws on neuroscience to explain why emotions can sometimes completely hijack our thinking. Brain. Deep inside your brain sits the amygdala, an ancient emotional center that processes threats and strong feelings. When something triggers you, your amygdala can essentially take over before your rational prefrontal cortex even gets a chance to respond. Goleman calls this an amygdala hijack. You have probably experienced this. You say something in anger that you immediately regret. Your heart races during a conflict and suddenly you cannot think clearly. That is your emotional brain overriding your thinking brain. Understanding this mechanism is the first step toward changing it. Now let's talk about the first pillar, self-awareness. This is knowing what you are feeling in the moment and understanding how those feelings influence your behavior and decisions. Goleman argues that people with high self-awareness are dramatically better at making decisions because they understand the emotional noise running underneath their thinking. Without self-awareness, you are essentially driving blindfolded. You react, you assume, and you often blame the wrong things for your problems. The second pillar is self-regulation. This is the ability to manage your impulses and emotional reactions rather than being controlled by them. Think about someone you know who stays calm under pressure, who does not explode when things go wrong, who can pause before reacting. That is self-regulation in action. Goleman connects this directly to success in leadership, relationships, and virtually every area of life. And here is the empowering part. This is a trainable skill. Your brain is plastic. You can literally rewire your emotional responses through practice and awareness. Motivation is the third element, and Goleman describes it as an internal drive that goes beyond money or status. People with high emotional intelligence tend to be intrinsically motivated. They pursue goals because of genuine passion and a desire to grow, not just for external rewards. This kind of motivation is far more sustainable and resilient when obstacles appear. It is the ability to genuinely sense what another person is experiencing and to respond accordingly. Goleman points out that empathy is the foundation of all meaningful human connection. In leadership, in parenting, in friendships, the people who truly listen and tune into others have a massive relational advantage. Empathy makes you trustworthy, and trust is everything. The fifth and final pillar is social skills. This is where all the other elements come together in real-world interactions. People with strong social skills are good at building rapport, managing conflict, inspiring others, and communicating in ways that land. They do not just react to social situations, they navigate them with intention. So here is the powerful takeaway from Goleman's work. Emotional intelligence is not fixed, and like IQ, which stays relatively stable throughout your life, EQ can be developed at any age. Every time you pause before reacting, every time you genuinely try to understand someone else's perspective, every time you check in with your own emotional state, you're building that muscle. Small consistent practices compound over time into genuine transformation. The people who succeed the most in life are not always the most brilliant. They are the ones who know themselves, manage their inner world, connect deeply with others, and show up with intention in every interaction. That is emotional intelligence. That is what Goleman spent years researching and what this book delivers in extraordinary detail. If this resonated with you, drop a comment below telling me which of the 5 pillars you want to work on most. And if you want more book breakdowns like this one, make sure you subscribe because we have so much more coming your way. See you in the next one.